dear listener, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks to Kenzie, enjoy watching. Lucy panicked, got up, and ran out of the hall. Many of the guests noticed this. I understood that something was wrong with her, so I hurried after her to find out what was going on. I caught up with her outside, where she had stopped by a low fence and was breathing heavily. Lucy, what's going on? I approached her. What happened? Do you know this person? I just felt unwell. Maybe the climate doesn't suit me, or maybe I'm just tired from the journey. I don't know. I just want to leave here. But a moment ago, you said we shouldn't have come here. Why? I don't understand you. Please, tell me what's going on. Chingst Woodard, don't ask me anything right now. Let's just leave. I'm begging you. My wife's behavior seemed very strange to me. I assumed she had recognized this person and became nervous because of him. But who was he, and why did he have such an effect on Lucy? His face seemed familiar to me too, but I couldn't remember where I might have seen him. Trying to calm her down at least a little, I granted her request, and we returned to our bungalow. There, she started rummaging through her purse in search of a sedative. I didn't know she was taking them. How long have you been taking these pills? I asked as I held the bottle and looked at the label. Not often, just occasionally. It's just a sedative. Why? You tell me. What? You rushed out of there as if you were scalded without any explanation. You asked me to leave, and now we're here. Can you explain to me what's going on? I stared at her with a reproachful look. Lizzie felt awkward, but she was still trying to find excuses for her behavior, which still didn't give me clear answers. So, I decided to find out what's wrong in a different way. Don't ask. I don't understand myself. Who knows? What about Grace? Why do you say that? I'm just admiring everything here. It's amazing, right? Grace replied. Grace, I'm not actually looking for you for this. I interjected. I have a few questions for you. Oh, what kind of questions? Grace asked. Tell me, do you know the man who invited us all here? Have you seen him before? I steached hers. Gruh. She blushed. Why should I know him? No, I've never seen him before. What happened? She turned her attention back to the fish. I don't even know, but things are starting to seem strange to me here. And you seem to have changed your mind about our trip. What made you change your perspective? Nothing really. I just wanted to relax. Yes, at first, everything seemed unclear to me, but now I see that it's not as bad as I thought. I even like it here. Where's Lucy? Grace finally noticed that my wife was not with us. Where did you take her? She's not feeling well. Do you really not know this guy? I continued my interrogation. No, I already told you. Why are you so fixated on him? Just relax and have fun. Paul, let's go over there. It looks like there's something interesting for you. Chris pointed towards a display with photos and brochures describing the local attractions. I realized that I wouldn't learn anything from her, so I decided to find him myself and ask him a couple of specific questions. I wandered around the hall and even outside, sometimes asking visitors if anyone had seen this mysterious man, but everyone answered in the negative. Only one person told me his name was Frank, and by the end of the evening, I was beginning to lose hope of finding him. Paul and Grace had also gone somewhere private, so I decided to just enjoy the rest of the evening, secretly hoping that this guy would show up again. But unfortunately, I didn't see him again that night. I didn't stay at the party for long, and later returned to our bungalow to check on my wife. I wanted to lie down and rest. When I arrived, she was sitting on the terrace in a wide armchair, gazing into the distance. Hey, what's on your mind? I asked as I approached her and sat down beside her. And I'm just sitting outside, enjoying the fresh air. What about you? Where were you, Batcha Prestons? Having fun, or Kate's to you? What else was I supposed to do? You decided to leave. Or so take to you, okay? Have you calmed down? Bruce was Pugmite skill better no? Roger, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't even know it came over me. I really action. Lucy began to apologize. It's okay, I said, brushing a stray strand of hair away from her face. Don't worry. I'd understand you were tired. And weeped. I just found it strange that you suddenly felt unwell when that man revealed his face. Bros, but I believe you. Come here. I opened my arms wide so Lucy could rest her head on my chest. There, it's all good. Let's just sit here for a while and then go to bed. Lucy embraced me and we enjoyed the sunset for a while. When the sun had completely disappeared below the horizon, we returned to our bungalow where we lay together on the bed, indulging in relaxation after a full day. We had a few days ahead of us, during which we had the opportunity to try everything on offer here. First, we visited the beach, and then Paul suggested we walk through the forest paths and experience the spirit of the wilderness. Else, the guide who accompanied our group told us in detail about all the places we passed, describing almost every rock and explaining how they were important to ancient people. In the evening, another announcement invited us to return to the hall we had visited the previous night. Lucy decided to stay in the bungalow, saying the daytime walk had tired her out. Annie, on the other hand, ventured out, thinking that I might get another chance to see the mysterious man. However, I still couldn't find him that evening. In fact, there were fewer people in the hall this time, as most of the guests had decided to spend their evening differently. I found a spot at the bar and enjoyed tasting the local alcoholic beverages. Came right nearest to the couple of other men, like me, were spending their evening at the bar. I glanced away occasionally when I grew tired of staring into my shot glass or at my reflection in the mirror on the opposite wall behind the bottles. And at one of those moments, I noticed the receding silhouette of a man whose figure reminded me of Frank. I immediately left my spot and hurried to catch up with the man. But the longer I followed him, the more he seemed to recede. Then I increased my pace and caught up with him in one of the corridors that led to the administration offices. "Hey, you nanos," I called out to him, reaching for his shoulder. However, the man anticipated my move and turned around before I could touch him. "I'm all ears," he replied, confirming that he was the man I was looking for. His mole on his left cheekbone made it impossible to mistake him for anyone else. "Are you Frank? Is that correct?" he asked. "Yes, can I help you with something?" He responded, "Yes, I need to talk to you. What is all of this about, and how are you connected to my wife?" I looked him straight in his dark, piercing eyes. His stare made me feel a little uneasy, but I wasn't going to back down. I needed answers. "I've no idea who your wife is, sir. How did you come to think I have any connection with her?" He replied, seemingly looking down on me even though he was no taller. "My wife's name is Lucy. I'm sure she recognized you. When she saw you, she felt unwell immediately. Yesterday, you said that we were all familiar with you, but I'm seeing you for the first time. So please be so kind as to explain what the hell is going on here." I do remember what I said. "But, I repeat, I have no idea who your wife is. And of course, Tunati. But wait, do you understand my question?" I grabbed the man by his collar and pressed him against the wall, not giving him a chance to escape. But Frank didn't seem the least bit frightened by my aggression. He kept looking at me, and his expression didn't change. On the contrary, he seemed to be mocking me. I pressed him even harder and repeated my question. And then I felt someone behind me. Frank looked in the direction behind me. I turned and saw two burly men ready to step up and defend the bastard, their guns sticking out of their belts. The coward must have been afraid to walk unguarded through the empty corridors, or else how else to explain their sudden appearance. Realizing that physically, I wouldn't stand a chance against both of them, I let go of Frank and stepped back. "I'm not finished with you. You will answer all my questions," I warned him, pointing my finger. Then I turned to leave. The thugs let me pass after their leader nodded to them. But I didn't relax as I walked past them, knowing they could grab me at any second. I returned to the hall, but the three of them seemed to have vanished when I turned around. I went out into the street, and as I walked back to my bungalow, I wondered how I could catch the bastard and talk to him alone. He was the only one who could explain everything to me. But so far, the circumstances were working against me, and my wife was acting strange and suspicious. I entered our room and noticed that she was lying on the bed. Her cell phone was lying beside her, and she was lying with her eyes closed. I walked closer and sat down on the bed next to her. Lucy sensed my presence and opened her eyes and looked in my direction. "Oh, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourself, Lucy?" I asked sarcastically. "I don't understand your behavior. You said yourself you didn't want to go anywhere. When we got here, everything was fine. But as soon as you saw that guy, everything changed. You hardly even smile. Can you explain to me what's going on with you? Why you're attacking me like this?" I continued, frustration evident in my tone. Lucy sat up and rested on the edge of the bed. "You're constantly trying to make me feel guilty, but I haven't done anything wrong." "I told you already. I'm just tired," she replied. "And why should I believe you?" Okay, maybe after the flight, but now you haven't done anything but lounge on the bed all evening. And you keep avoiding meeting this Frank. Who is he to you? What connects you to him? I hadn't noticed how my calm tone turned into a shout, and in that moment, I was even ready to pounce on her just to get some answers and the truth. Noticing my wife looking at me fearfully, but reproachfully, I realized I needed to calm down. Lucy, just tell me everything as it is. I can see that you know him, I said, trying to keep a more composed tone. At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and then the door swung open, revealing Paul holding a small envelope. He informed us that something was about to happen in the main hall, and everyone, without exception, was invited. He handed me the envelope, which was addressed to our bungalow. When I asked what was going on, he replied that he had no idea and was quite eager to experience the surprise from the organizer. There was no dress code mentioned in the envelope, so Lucy and I went as we were at that moment. She didn't want to go, but with Paul's persuasion, we managed to convince her. When Grace joined us, the four of us headed to the party. When we arrived, we were asked to go to the next windowless hall, which had been closed until then, and told that the main surprise would be waiting for us there. No one even guessed about the future events, but everyone obediently followed the attendant like a flock of sheep. The hall was illuminated by neon beams, creating a relaxed atmosphere. There were tables with drinks on one side and a small stage at the other end. Once everyone was inside, the front door slammed shut, and Frank's voice came from the speakers, inviting guests to have a drink and enjoy the evening ahead. Just a minute later, the stage curtain opened and the lead singer came out, followed by the rest of the band with their guitars and other instruments. Paul was amazed by the nice gift and went straight to the drinks, inviting us to follow. While the lead singer was performing, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the whole situation. A bit generous, and as if it was specially designed to gather us all here. As the song ended, Frank's voice came again. So, dear guests, as I mentioned before, you all know me. But you didn't recognize me when I first walked in front of you. You've seen me even before I had plastic surgery. I had to undergo surgery after I was thrown into a burning car from a cliff. Now, I'm going to reveal my real name to you. Stuart Miles. The audience showed noticeable agitation at his words. Yes, I see by your reactions that you know this name, and many of you are surprised that I'm still alive. But among you is one person, Lucy Brock, who can confirm that it's really me. And now I want you to feel what I felt once. This was the second part of the story. It will continue in the next video. And now we have a story for you. I walked in on my 18-year-old son having an intimate relationship with my sister-in-law, who is my brother's wife and 34 years old. I suspect they have been having a relationship for some time. In February, my 37-year-old brother, his wife, and their 2 children moved in with us. My husband and I have a big house on a farm, and since everyone is working from home, we thought it would be a good opportunity to stay together as a family and have my nieces spend time on the farm. We have 3 children of our own. The oldest is 18 and male, and the other 2 are 16 and 13, both female. On the day my brother arrived, I went grocery shopping with my son while he went to the pharmacy to get his gym supplements. I bought the food, and when we got home, I noticed protection in my son's bag, 2 packs with a total of 72 pieces. I assumed he had a girlfriend and wanted to be safe. Everything seemed normal, and everyone got along well. My sister-in-law and son even went on early runs around the farm. Last month, something seemed off when they left for their run and didn't make the usual rounds around the farm. They said they decided to hit the road, but I didn't think much of it at the time. My sister-in-law and son had a close bond. Yesterday morning, while returning from a friend's house before sunrise, I noticed the cabin on the farm was open with the light on. Thinking an employee had forgotten to lock up, I went to close the door and turn off the light. However, to my shock, I heard people having intimacy inside. When I peeked in, I saw it was my son and sister-in-law. I was so stunned that I didn't confront them at that moment. I haven't shared what I witnessed with anyone, and I'm feeling really unsure about what to do next. Should I confront them about it? Should I tell my brother? Or should I confide in my husband? I'm completely confused and have been doing a lot of thinking. Based on the evidence, such as the condoms, my son never bringing a girlfriend around, their morning runs around the farm, and their close relationship, I strongly suspect they have been having an intimate relationship. I've been in a relationship for a while. After receiving a lot of comments, I decided to start by talking to my husband. At first, he was upset and thought it was a joke. However, after our conversation, we both agreed that it would be best to talk to our son before informing my brother. My son revealed that the affair started at my sister-in-law's birthday party, where they got drunk and had intimacy in a bathroom. Since then, they have been meeting at hotels and sneaking off at family gatherings. After my son admitted to everything, my husband couldn't handle it and told him to leave the house and go to our condo in town. He didn't want to see our son at that moment. Once our son left, my husband angrily went to my brother's room and told him everything. My sister-in-law was not at home at the time. My brother also got upset and quickly packed his belongings, took the kids, and left. He asked where our son had gone, mentioning that he wanted to teach him a lesson. We didn't tell him, and he eventually left without knowing. As for my sister-in-law, she didn't return, and I believe my brother might have called her or our son warned her about the situation. She seems scared to come back as her things are still in the house. Amidst all the yelling and commotion, my daughters overheard everything and they're heartbroken, fearing that our family might be torn apart. They miss their brother and worry that my husband may never let him back into the house. My husband strongly despises any form of cheating and has always emphasized to our two eldest children that they should never cheat on anyone or be involved with someone who is already in a relationship. I know I haven't done anything wrong, but I'm unsure how I'll ever face my brother again. He's not responding to calls or texts, and my husband advised me to give him time to heal. Meanwhile, my son has left the condo because he's afraid of what my brother might do to him. He's now hiding at a friend's place, but he won't reveal which friend. We haven't heard anything from Sil, who's the one who initiated the closeness the first time she and my son slept together. She was also the one booking hotel rooms and treating my son to meals. Furthermore, my son was receiving an allowance from her. In another story, my wife and I have been together for 13 years. We began dating when we were around 16 and we've never broken up. 3 years ago, we got married. Our relationship was so strong that others were envious and people always thought we would get married at a young age. However, over the past 1.5 to 2 years, things started to shift in our relationship. Some problems emerged with her family, and as a result, she started becoming more distant from me, both emotionally and physically. She became very protective of her phone and grew closer to a male coworker. I admit that I snooped on her phone because I had a feeling that something was wrong based on various signs. I discovered incriminating texts that confirmed she was having an affair with this guy. When I confronted her, she admitted to the affair. When I confronted her in early September, she admitted to it, confessing that the affair had been going on for a year. They were having the affair in our home, even sleeping together in the bedroom that we had planned for our future children. She said sorry, promising it wouldn't happen again, and I told her for us to move forward. She must cut off all contact with the person she cheated on me with. It's been 2 months, but they still talk occasionally. She argues that it's unfair for me to ask her to stop talking to someone she considers a close friend. Honestly, I'm unsure of what to do now. I'm trying to see if I can forgive and forget, but I don't know if I can ever trust her again. It feels like she's prioritizing her relationship with him over ours by staying in touch. I'm really torn and don't know what my instincts are telling me. She also wants me to keep this situation a secret from our friends, leaving me with no one to talk to about it. I'm going to call the lawyer I spoke to a few weeks ago tomorrow and see how he says I should approach the situation. I decided to give you an update because your advice was incredibly helpful over a month ago. After posting here and reading all your advice, I contacted my lawyer, confided in my parents and some close friends about the situation, and informed my wife that I wanted a divorce. She pleaded and begged, promising to improve things and end contact with the other person involved. We spent the entire weekend together, and she made all sorts of promises, saying and doing the right things. Though I didn't fully trust her, I decided to give her one last chance to salvage what I believed we had. Things seemed okay for about a month, more like coexisting, but she spent less time on her phone and became more attentive to me. During a weekend, she handed me her phone to show me something, and I became suspicious. I swiped up on her open apps and saw that she was talking to the person she cheated with on Instagram. I got really upset, but she tried to convince me that he just messaged her, and she rejected his advances. However, I read their conversation and found out they were planning to meet that night. She had deceived me once again. She promised to block him, but insisted on saying goodbye because he was her friend. I told her it was unacceptable, and she had to cut off contact and block him immediately. She said she would, But after 2 days, I asked her again, and she hadn't done it yet. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore, and I decided right then that we should get a divorce. I gave her the option of going through mediation if she agrees to everything I want, or I'll involve my lawyer, and I'll still get what I want. She agreed to mediation, and we're starting that process soon. It took me some time to reach this decision, maybe longer than it should have, but now I respect myself enough to put an end to this and seek the happiness I deserve. She continues to try to make me feel guilty about everything, partly blaming me and telling me how difficult a situation I'm putting her in. However, I remind her that it was her actions that led to this situation, not mine, and she has to face the consequences of what she did. I've started sharing the details of what happened with more friends in my family. This isn't how I envisioned my life, but I believe it's a blessing in disguise. And eventually, I'll find someone who genuinely brings me happiness. After I informed my ex-wife, 29, that we were getting a divorce, she started gaslighting me intensely. She blamed me, saying it was my fault for ending our marriage, and she made me feel guilty for letting our relationship come to this point. She even tried to make me feel bad about taking away the home our dog knows. However, I remained strong, didn't let her manipulation affect me, and proceeded with divorce mediation. The mediation process went smoothly, and she agreed to everything I wanted, resulting in my official freedom as per the court's notice. During the mediation period, we managed to sell the house within 3 months, and she moved out a month before the sale closed. While we still lived together during that time, she continued her gaslighting, blaming me for everything and calling me mean for not speaking to her. Her behavior revealed the toxicity and one-sidedness of our relationship. After the house was sold, I moved back to my parents' home for a few months to gather myself and figure out my life. I started attending therapy every week and reflected on the relationship, coming to the realization of how unhealthy it was. I always prioritized her and put my own happiness second, sacrificing for her unrealistic needs and expectations. My therapist suggested that she might have borderline personality disorder, a condition that runs in her family, which makes a lot of sense. I worked on underlying issues that led me to be in such a toxic relationship, and now I feel more confident in identifying warning signs. I also committed to improving my physical health, losing 15 pounds in the last 3 months and getting back into running, training for a 10D this month. I moved into my own place in New York City, reconnecting with old friends I had lost touch with. I've also started dating for the first time in my life, though it hasn't been very successful yet. On top of that, I earned a promotion at work, a result of my hard work. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, I'm in a better place than I have been in years. Her affair, which revealed her true colors, turned out to be the best thing she could have done for me. I haven't told all our mutual friends about the affair yet because I was worried it might affect the mediation. But now that the divorce is final, I'll be informing everyone about who she really is and what she did. I guess all I wanted to say in this long post is that things will get better. It's not our fault that we were cheated on, and we should use this experience as a starting point to improve ourselves and become the best versions of ourselves. This will probably be my last significant post here. My healing journey isn't over, but it's entering a new chapter, and I don't want to dwell on what this woman did to me anymore. I'm a 30-year-old male, and my wife is a 31-year-old female. A little backstory first. I met my wife in high school, and we got together, and we were happy. We've been together for 14 years and have been married for 12 years. After we got married, we had 3 beautiful children, a 12-year-old female, an 8-year-old female, and a 7-year-old male. A couple of years ago, I started noticing that my wife got pretty distant and started acting weird. Before this, I had some bedroom kinks, and when we would have sex, she became distant and acted weird. I knew this because we had been together for so long. Anyways, one night while she was sleeping, I had this itching feeling to take her phone. So I checked messages, nothing. And then I checked Facebook Messenger, and this is where my heart sank to my stomach. I found conversations with her friend about a guy who I will call Jack. She would talk about how I was in the bedroom and all my secrets. I feel as though whatever goes on in the bedroom should stay there. Well, apparently, she took a fantasy I had and decided to act on it in real life behind my back. This went on for months, and at some point, she met up with Jack. Her friend was disapproving of it, by the way. So I woke her up. Mind you, that was maybe at 3 a.m. to confront her, and she said nothing other than I couldn't get it all out of her at once, but she admitted that she had met up with Jack once, but I find that hard to believe. Anyways, I told her that she needs to block Jack, and she did. I was all over the place, as my emotions got the best of me. I said, go ahead and continue as you would normally, and she didn't hesitate to re-add him as a friend. I got mad at this. She said that he was a good friend, and she didn't want to lose him. So, days passed, and I decided to try to make it work if she tells me everything. She told me a lot, but to this day, I feel as though she's held back on the details. I guess the question I have is, what do I do? I feel that more happened as this went on for months. If you fast forward to now, she's back to being cold towards me and yells every day that I come back in, and it's eating away at my soul. Can you tell me everything before? Did she cheat more than that? Am I stupid for believing her? Is it possible that I should be worried some of the kids aren't mine, and is she doing it again? Thanks, Reddit. I know I'm all over the place, but this bothers me to no end. Any help would be appreciated. Sing update on post. I didn't expect all the feedback that I'm getting, and I want to say that I value everyone's advice. I think now I'm going to go through with paternity tests and STEA tests. Eventually, I'll talk with a lawyer about my options and what I can and can't do. One thing I don't think I explained well, but I had to block Jack myself as she wanted to keep him as a friend. So far, I think I've realized that mental health is not going to be great if I keep this dirt swept under a rug. I've talked to the mother-in-law about what her daughter did to me. She didn't believe me at first, but after I said it 2 more times, she said, I can't believe I didn't raise her that way, and she apologized to me. She then asked if I'm going to leave her daughter, and I said that I don't know. Thanks for all the support you all have been giving me. I will give another update the further I go. Thanks, Redditors. Final update. Firstly, I want to thank all of you who gave me advice. I got tested, and no stees, and the kids are mine. I decided that I was going to get a divorce, and have since gone through with it. My life has been so much better now since I'm not constantly worrying. But to anyone going through the same thing, I'd say weigh out your options. But under no circumstances should you allow your significant other to run over you and stand firm on the decisions you make. There is a better life after you get away from toxic people and find someone who cares about you. I don't think I'll ever get married again, but I have since talked to a few women, but mainly focused on myself again. Thank you for all the kind advice. I think it's concerning that the moment you said, continue as you would normally, she re-added him as she didn't want to lose him. It sounds like she had already made up her mind by that time, and it might have been an indication at that point that the relationship was over. I'm glad you decided to go through with your divorce after all of that. You definitely shouldn't allow yourself to be walked over like that. File divorce papers today. If you've read my posts, which I had since deleted, I have come to the realization that reconciliation is My D-Day was on January 20th. My wayward spouse said it was only an emotional affair, but if Airporter was a cop and she a veterinarian, she made it seem like she ended it, but she hadn't. She says there was no physical contact, which I'm almost certain there was. The thought of someone else being in our bed having sex with her is like getting hit in the face with a brick. Even though she said she wanted to try and reconcile, her words and actions said otherwise. I just couldn't see the writing on the wall. I truly believe she doesn't want the stigma of being the one who ended it without even trying. I think she is waiting for me so she can say I tried, but he didn't want to. Or the wee part of me wonders if I shouldn't file just so she doesn't get off that easy. So, I've contacted an attorney and had my consultation today. I did contact one after I first found out, but thought the $6,000 non-refundable retainer was a bit high. Other than the fact of losing her, the worst part is that this is giving her a quicker out, so she can be with the affair partner that much sooner. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. Update, looking back, I should have listened more. If you're struggling as to why an affair happened and your marriage is crumbling or ended, it may not be too late to change what happens next. My D-Day was 3 weeks ago, but know that reconciliation probably isn't in the cards right now. In my search on how to improve myself and fix our marriage, I was directed to this as How Your Marriage Ends by Matthew Fry. I'm only 3 chapters in, and I can relate to everything he has written. I only wish I had read this sooner. He writes, broken relationships are mostly the result of things we do not know. Our marriage died 1,000 deaths before it was actually over. In the last 3 weeks, my wayward spouse and I had more deep discussions than we had in the last 5 years. Whenever our problems arose, we did not know how to handle them. Whenever our problems arose, I either swept them under the rug or handled them incorrectly, basically breaking her trust and confidence in the fact that I don't respect her feelings and emotions. The worst part is that I didn't even realize I was doing it. I strongly urge anyone who has been betrayed or is struggling in their relationship with their significant other to read the aforementioned book. It may help you save your current relationship or one in the future. It's Sierra. I have been receiving unwarranted criticism for some of you saying that I'm blaming myself for her cheating. This is not the case. I date. Finally, I had a good night's sleep. It has been a month since D-Day A, and I had the worst birthday ever 2 days ago. My wayward wife has had a repair partner for a year, and it is still ongoing. I tried avoiding her and using the gray rock method, but none of it was working, and I kept falling back into our usual routine of talking. I'm sure she is enjoying having a repair partner and then coming home to everything being fine. I created a few accounts on dating apps to prepare for the future. Last night, someone messaged me and we spent an hour and a half chatting. I felt so good last night that I was able to mostly forget about my soon-to-be ex-wife. It was the best night of sleep I've had in 30 days. Maybe I'm rushing into things and she may be desperate to find someone, but for now, I will just enjoy it. We spent another hour and a half chatting this morning. I don't know, though, if it can work with a 39-year-old and me at 54. I just feel so old when I look at her and wonder how I will be judged if we have a relationship. If you enjoyed this story, please like and leave a comment. It's important to us and will help promote this video. Thank you for watching.